All right. Hello, everyone. A little bit of a different time. Today, I'm actually going to take a quick day trip, or leave for a day trip tomorrow, which means I'll miss out on my Wednesday live stream. But I wanted to make sure I still kind of did something. So just a quick stream today to upgrade an internal project that I remembered I had. I don't use this very often, so let me kind of tell you what the project is and then kind of what we're gonna do, right? So this project actually generates the screenshots for the Laravel shifts. So for example, if we go down, this project actually, I found out it was running Laravel 8. So let me just go to learn more so you can see this screenshot right here is what I'm talking about. This little SEO image, OG image, and on the page all gets generated from this screenshots app. And what this app actually does is pretty straightforward. It's just kind of like a... I actually use GitHub Action CI. We'll see here in a second, but I actually use GitHub Action CI to load a page within the application, take a screenshot of it, and export that as a PNG. And so that's what you get. So this is actually a view within a separate Laravel application that kind of mimics the GitHub PR UI, right? This is actually something Jess and I worked on a long time ago. Jess built most of it, and I've kind of been tweaking it and using it over the years, again, to generate and kind of unify these screenshots. So in the process of working on the one for the Laravel 12 shift, I realized that the build was broken. Fortunately, I was able to kind of get this to hobble along, but the build's broken because it's such an old version of Laravel now that GitHub Actions is updating some of their internal infrastructure. So things like older versions of Mac that this kind of relied upon in the CI aren't available anymore. So I was able to kind of tweak the image to make this work. But the better thing to do is going to be to go ahead and upgrade this to Laravel 11, so I don't have to worry about this for, a few more years. And again, I don't use this very often. Anytime I make a new shift, which is maybe 2 or 3 times a year, I go and I use this little tool to regenerate the images. So it's not a lot. Anyway, let's go ahead and merge this. That way everything's in main, and then we're going to start running the shifts to kind of get this going. So I have not run the Laravel, despite the title, I have not run the Laravel 12.x shift on this repository. This is the screenshot generator for the Laravel 12 shift. So this is just a shift to generate that PNG. It's not the actual upgrading. So if we go to the main branch and we look at Composer, we'll see that, again, this is still running Laravel Framework 8.75. So pretty old version. So let's copy this. Let's go out to Laravel shift. Here's the Laravel 8 to 9 shift, so the 9.x shift. Let's sign in with GitHub. And I'm just going to start running all these shifts. Let's get it up to, not Composer JSON. Let's get it up. We can just keep running things against the main branch. I'm fine. Normally I would make, just kind of a little pro tip, even though shift makes its own branch, I normally kind of like to abstract that just a bit farther, just to put a little bit more separation there, especially if I'm going to run multiple versions. So I would make a Laravel upgrade branch off of main that I would just keep dumping everything into, and then I would just merge that into master when I was done. That way I can keep running the shifts, I can work on that branch. So again, even though shift will make a shift, order number branch, I kind of like that extra separation if I'm going to run a bunch. But today, because this is an internal project and because we're just going to merge these as we go, I'm just going to go against main directly. So let's check out and run on this. Now I have a shifty plan, so I'm just going to go ahead and add this instead of pay for it. So here we are. We're shift number 140,490. Dang. That number always kind of blows my mind sometimes. 140,000 upgrades. Amazing. All right, let's run this. All right, so this should run in the background. Let's let that fly here. That looks good. All right, let me jump back over here and just kind of, let's get a feel for the project while we're going. Again, not a very large project. In fact, I think it only has like a controller. Oh wait, not middleware. Duh. controllers. There we go. Yeah, just the shift controller. Again, very straightforward application. It's really just a super simple cruddy app, one controller. Again, the index just kind of lists them all so I can click through and generate them if I want. And then show the actual one that gets hit inside of the CI shows that particular shift. And so it's just, again, it just generates a blade view that looks like a GitHub PR and pre-fills in information that comes for that shift. So the commit messages and like some kind of like generic numbering of like how much that shift does for the PR. So like it kind of like randomly will generate, 1,200, additions and 1,400, deletions, all the stuff that you see. Again, if we go to the shifts, it's kind of all the stuff that you would see if we go to learn more in kind of this header view. So let me just open this image in a new tab so we can see what's going on. So it generates this. This is the view that controller opens up with the shift, and all the information gets pre-filled in this view. And so again, GitHub Actions, the CI will actually run, display this page, and take a picture of it, and it'll do that for all the shifts in the database. So cool little project just to generate those screenshots. I think it's fun. It's worked really well. Again, Jess and I worked on this a while ago, and it's been pretty nice. So, okay. So when I get into a shift, I run a shift, I get into a shift, and first thing I do is I kind of scroll through, just like the logs here say, or the description here says, I just kind of scroll through the commits, I scroll through all the comments, and just since I know I'm going to run a lot of these, I try to just take a look for anything that I may need to address right now. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep running shifts, and I'm going all the way to the Laravel 11, the final destination, the latest version currently, at least until next week when Laravel 12 is released. So I just kind of go through here and look for any kind of like breaking changes. So I'm cool that the resource lang folders moved to the top. I'm not using any Swift mailer stuff. This changed pretty heavily in Laravel 9. They moved from Swift mailer to Symfony mailer. The most common assumption here is that you were probably using Mailgun or something. So here's an example of some additional dependencies that you would have to bring in. Now this application is not sending any mail, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete this message. Again, it's kind of an assumption based on the stuff. File system driver changed its name. I'm not worried about that for two reasons. One, again, I don't use anything for the file system. And two, I know that the environment configuration changes heavily in every version, so I'm just not going to worry about those changes right now. Again, not going to worry about config file changes, not going to worry about new env bits. We're not using the old token driver, so I don't need to like install or move to Sanctum. We barely have any dependencies, but anyway, it did that. That's good. Anonymous migration's great. Sanctum 3 added this. Although Shift detected a dependency for Laravel Sanctum, it did not find. I have a dependency for Sanctum? Why would I have a dependency for Sanctum? Well, we'll get rid of that. Let's just delete this for now. I don't need that table. Again, we're not using any of Symfony's underlying stuff, so that's all good. So again, I just like kind of going through these. All right, let's see here. The loop variable is no longer available when iterating over a lazy collection. I don't believe I'm using a lazy collection in these. It's not very common that you are. Shift is kind of just saying these are the files that it figured out, or it detected the loop variable in a blade template. I am using the loop variable, that's true, but I'm almost positive I'm not using a lazy collection. Again, that's pretty uncommon that you would be. I'm going to go ahead, well, you know what, I'm going to leave this just in case something does go wrong. I'm going to leave that comment. I'm not going to worry too much about moving to Vite today, and yes, Laravel's end of life, keep going to Laravel 11. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and I'm just going to squash merge this. So let's squash merge this. Again, we do have some failures, and real quick, while we're on the main branch, do I actually have a Sanctum dependency? That might have just been, I do. We're not using any Sanctum stuff. So let's do this. Let me kill that, just for future shifts to be easier. Remove Laravel Sanctum. My guess, there was a point in time where Sanctum was was included in a default Laravel application. Now it's kind of more opt-in, but I think there was a short period of time, and that might have been back in the Laravel 8.9 range when it was first out. Is Sanctum default? No, see, it's not default anymore, but I wonder if you go back to 8. Yeah, see? Aha! I do way too much with the Laravel, like, I'm like the Laravel historian. This is crazy. Yeah, anyway, it used to be part of the default Laravel new application, even though I'm not using it. So now it's a bit more opt-in. So that's why Sanctum was in this project. Let's just drop it. So it's gone now, committed that directly to main. Let's go back and let's go ahead and run the next one. So we ran 9, let's run 10. We'll purchase, what is this? Laravel screenshots, kaboom, kaboom. On main, all good. So it kind of just remembered what we were doing. Shouldn't have to pay since I've added it to my repository. We'll let that run. Let's go back to pull requests. And here in a little bit, we'll get something here. Now, while we're doing that, sooner or later, I am going to need to pull down all of the code here. So let's just go ahead and get all this set up. So that's good. So there are going to be some changes that, of course, we will need to make. But I think Shift is probably going to get us pretty darn close. For such a small application, I mean, we should be able to burn through these in another 10 minutes, I would think. Okay, let's take a look at this. Same thing. We're just going to scroll down through everything. Lang folder, I'll go. So stringline the Lang file. So let's just kind of take a look at what this is. This is actually pretty cool. Yeah, basically starting with Laravel, I think actually starting with Laravel 9, later versions of 9, but definitely in 10, you don't have to keep track of all the language files anymore. The framework will give them to you for free. You don't have to keep like manually updating these on every version. So I think it's cool. Shift will get rid of them if you don't have any customizations. Of course, if you do, it'll keep your customization. So that's what it's kind of telling you here. So that's kind of nice. Again, just the less files you have, especially like these small apps, I just want to see my code in here. Like, let the framework do everything else. Like if it's super small, it's going to be super easy to maintain going forward, right? And I like that Laravel 10 and Laravel 11 really pushed the bounds of that. I think they're kind of pausing on all of that, but I'd love to see, you know, Laravel 13, Laravel 14 continue to kind of reevaluate what all is actually needed, you know, when you run Laravel new, right? So anyway, I think that's cool that these things are getting streamlined or slimmed or whatever people like to call it. Okay, Laravel 12 now verifies hash values. Again, a lot of this does apply to your average application that actually has like a login and all this kind of stuff, but this is just really just a single view Laravel app. So a lot of these comments don't apply to me. So I'm kind of glossing over them pretty quickly. So Laravel bumps my dependencies, all good. Notice we have a test suite. So I may need to update to PHP Unit 10. That's true. So Shift detected your application has a test suite to allow you to verify your upgrade in isolation. Shift did not bump your PHP dependency to 10. So we're going to need to do that as we continue to upgrade. But again, we can run this other Shift for free. Great. So Laravel 10 added type hints. All right, cool. So this is just Shift's attempt to kind of adopt these, you know, yeah. Again, super small app. All these should be pretty straightforward. That looks good. Okay, got rid of that. If we want to revert those type hints, here are the commands to do so. I'm cool with them. If there are any issues, we'll bring it up. So Composer, PHP 8.1, all good. End of life. I think this is good. Let's merge. Let's just keep rocking. So squash merged that. Let's get back out to the dashboard. I'm going to refresh this and let's run. Let's let that refresh. That got merged. Did I delete the branch? Doesn't really matter, but let's clean up after ourselves. All right, and let's run Laravel 11. Keep rocking. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so what are we on? What are we on time here? We are 13 minutes in. 13 minutes in, we've gone from Laravel 8 to Laravel 11. So now that we're on the latest version, we're going to slow down. We'll slow down a little bit. And we'll pull this down, actually run Composer update, do all the things, right? But for the most part, again, on a super small application like this, I think we're going to be good to go. I really don't expect too much here. But let's follow this PR a little more strictly, right? So let's do get fetch. And then as it says, let's do the get checkout that. All right. And I'm just going to go ahead, while we're looking at stuff, I'm just going to go ahead in the background and just run composer update. Let's see if we can get everything. So Laravel 11, again, very big change. Shift, unlike the upgrade guide does not cover how to slim your application. The Laravel 11 shift does slim your application. So a lot of these, again, are that streamlining, that removing default files, all that stuff kind of happens. And then this is a lot of comments around the education of, again, what it did, because it was a pretty big change, right? So no longer requires you to maintain default configuration files. It's streamlined the ones in the application. So again, as a basic application, I don't have much in here, if anything. In fact, I would imagine all of my stuff to be gone. So as you can see here, most of the configuration files gone out of this app. They're completely default. I'm not using those features. I'm not using broadcasting. They can just be removed. So here's some things here. It looks like we had the old pass. Oh, there was a migration I bet we haven't run yet. We'll pick that up here in a second. And then I'll need to tweak. I could probably actually just use SQLite. I don't even think I need MySQL. We'll find out. Definitely some env variables that changed. Laravel now includes Guzzle as a framework dependency. Shift did not detect yours, so it removed it. Great, even less dependencies. Shift updated my dependencies. Shift detected your application to provide you with a compatible set of dependencies. Okay, so opposite of Laravel 10, now PHP Unit 10 is required in Laravel 11, so Shift had to bump it. So we may start to have some issues with our tests, but that's okay. We'll handle that here in a minute. I don't even know what tests we have, to be honest. The base controller is abstract, that's fine. New timestamps, that's all good. Okay, we're on the latest versions. Okay, it can't generate screenshots, that makes sense. Okay, here we go. Okay, Composer update failed here. Composer requires browser shot 360. Really? Let's get into PHP Storm. I would have expected it to jump, whoops. I would have expected it to jump up a lot on browser shot. What is the latest version of browser shot? Spassy browser shot. I feel like they're on like 10. Not 10, but they're definitely not on 3. They're on 5 yesterday. Does 5 still support Laravel 11? Symfony process 7. Oh, they don't have any direct. Okay, so maybe it's the underlying stuff. I see. Okay. We can bump that. Do we have the screenshots repo here? No. Let's make a new project real quick. Get working directory. Jump in here. So now's where we slow down and we kind of put Humpty Dumpty back together again. So again, we ran those pretty fast, but we let Shift do what it does best. It upgraded core files, it bumped our dependencies, it merges in configuration files, it changes things, it moves files around, all the tedious, stupid stuff that is no value to read for yourself in the upgrade guide. Just let Shift do it. Now we're going to slow down and actually pay attention to our application and make sure things are running again. So specifically to our application, for whatever reason, seems like browser shot did not bump. So let's do this. Let's just try to straight bump it to 5. I'm going to look into why browser shot didn't automatically update, because it should have. I'm sure it's tracked. So it's interesting that that didn't automatically get bumped for us. So I will look into that. In the meantime, we're going to bump it ourselves. Composer update -w. Let's see if 5 just works. It does. Cool. So again, not sure why Shift did not get such a high-end package like Spassy. That's definitely got to be one we're tracking. So I'm gonna get in there and take a look at why that was missed. Anyway, okay, this should be good. Let's close this back down, close that back down. What's left in here? Okay, so we ran Composer update. What I want to do now, okay, we manually ripped out Sanctum, but we didn't kill the config files. So let's go do that. Okay, what's in these? And empty aliases. Okay, that can go away. What's in database? We don't have any packages. This is commented actually on the PR. This is kind of a fail-safe. It's one of those nuances and a reason why the upgrade guide kind of doesn't really outline how to migrate is because there's a lot of little nuances, and this is one of them. You know, if you don't add this to your configuration, you can effectively publish new migrations for things that you've already published before. So you kind of have to like turn this off. Now, I don't have any packages with migrations or anything like that, so I know that I can get rid of this, but this is kind of one of those little nuancy things and why that database bit is still in there. Okay, so let's get rid of Sanctum, which is the real problem. And then mail. I'm not using any mail. I think Mailgun is left in here for legacy. Again, Shift assumes that Mailgun is kind of this old driver that you might be using. And again, Mailgun. So there, for this simple application, there is no reason for me to manage the config files. I'm using everything stock out of Laravel. I'm not using any like event broadcasting or queues or anything. An SQLite database is enough. I don't need any of these config files. So that should also handle this error. So let's just run this again. My guess is Sanctum was coming up without the Sanctum files that it needed. Okay, cool. So everything's getting loaded in now. So Composer update works. So let's just do, real quick, let's do this. I'll say slim remaining configuration, git push, and then let's do a git add dot, git commit dash m. We'll say composer update. We'll git push that. I think this will probably get the build passing again. Let's go look at the workflow. Okay, here's what I actually hacked earlier. So let's put this back on latest. So what this does is it generates the screenshots. Let's go ahead and bump to 8.4. We're running Laravel 11 now, which is compatible with 8.4, so why not? We build all of our stuff still. That's fine. We're not worried about switching to Vite right now. So let's just build with mix still. We're copying over the env. I'm just kind of okay. See, we are using an SQLite database. All good. So we touch an SQLite database. We run migrate fresh, and then we run PHP artisan screenshot, which I think is a command. If we look for the screen, yeah, here we go. Take screenshot. Here we go. Yeah, so when you don't pass anything in, what this does is it loops over all the shifts, and it effectively pulls in that view. It effectively pulls in that view with that shift, renders it, dumps it out so browser shot can read it. All right. So browser shot reads it, spins up a browser window with that HTML, and then it takes a picture of it and saves it based on the name, based on path, I guess. Interesting. Oh no, okay, this is separate. Image, is that a little, okay, spaCy image, all right. Why is an image in here? It's interesting. All right, let's do this. I'm wondering, there's probably gonna be some changes that need to happen. Let's run pint on everything. All right. Let's bump the build. Let's run this up. We're probably, jumping the browser shots never, you know, jumping 3 major versions is never that easy. So there's probably something I'm gonna need to do for browser shot to make sure it's happy. So we'll look at that here in a second. Let's go to the actions and see what's happening now. So we know the last few are gonna fail because Composer wasn't even compatible. But this one should hopefully get down to where it actually tries to run the screenshots command. So let's see. While we're seeing, I'll check the stats. Hey King, how's it going? Hey Samuel, thanks for joining live at the new time. All right, this normally takes about a minute or two, so let's see what happens. I think in preparation, let's look at spaCy browser shot. And let's look, do they have like an upgrade changelog? Here we go. No change log. No upgrade guide. Okay, on GitHub. Okay, support Chrome headless shell, old headless mode. Okay. Full change log. Fine. Bump, bump. Full change log. Requires Puppeteer version 2.3.0 or higher. Okay. Add support for media features. Fix empty. Okay. I'm trying to see like if they got rid of their spaCy image library thing. Maybe that was in 4.0. Modernize code base. Oh, here we go. Made dependency on spaCy image optional. There it is. That's the issue. Okay. Composer required that. And in this case, it's a production configuration or a requirement because. Okay, cool. Git commit. Git add dot git commit dash m require spaCy image. All right. So it seems like that used to be included. So now my guess is that's no longer squiggly. Good. Okay, that should fix the build now. All right, git commit, or we already did that. Git push. Okay, so build's probably broken here because it doesn't know what image is. Exactly. Okay, good. Good failure. We kind of expected that. We've gone ahead and fixed it, pushed it up. The Cedar, everything else seemed to be running. So Composer's good, Cedar's good, SQLite database is good. So now we should get generated images. And if we do and they look good, then there we have it. We upgraded from Laravel 8 to Laravel 11, in under 30 minutes. And again, this is a super small project, but like Shift did the work. Shift's just a little script, it's a little bot. Like, it doesn't care if you have 5 controllers or 55 controllers or 500 controllers. Like, it's going to do the same job, right? So, yeah, this is a small app and we didn't have to do too much, but I still spent time looking through each one of the comments and so forth. So, we're still doing due diligence here. So if your app's much larger, it's not like this is necessarily going to take, much longer. Not at least a same multiple, right? Just because you have 10 times the controllers doesn't mean this is going to take you 10 times longer. It might take you another 10 minutes, but it's not going to take you another 3 hours. So the only other thing I thought was weird was this. Let's go look at that while we're waiting. That just caught my eye, and I think the problem is, yeah, we don't have those files. So again, there's no migration for the password resets table because there's no users or anything in this application. It's just been it's just been trimmed down completely by ourselves, but also Shift. So I think this is kind of a non-issue now. All these old env variables don't matter for our application. They're good to know for yours because some of the defaults changed. For example, the default changed to SQLite, but we're already using SQLite, so it's no big deal. So I don't need to worry about those. I'll just put a little thumbs up here. Boop. And then again, such a small app, we weren't using any of these, and Shift did it for us, but this is good. It's an even smaller application now. I love it. I mean, look at this thing. We've got like one command, one controller, a couple models, and our app service provider. Like, it doesn't even have any of the other stuff. It just boots our, we don't even use the API rate limiter, so we're good. We got no config files, my favorite ever. Yeah, this is great. And again, I don't even think we have any tests, so bumping this up to, 11.0, like, that would be fine if we wanted to do that. I'm not going to do that, but if we wanted to, that would be fine. Let's nah that out. I think our build's going to pass now. Let's go check. Where are you? Checks. Oh, Image Magic. Do they use Image Magic? Why didn't Image, what is that called? I always forget how they spell it. Imagic. Oh my goodness, quick clicking the menu bar. They don't mention a magic here. It seems like I don't have that extension. Is that a change maybe in the build? Setup PHP. That's interesting. That's interesting that SPASI doesn't note that as a requirement. I mean, it's fine. I'm trying to figure out why we didn't need it before. What's that guy's name? This guy. Is this it? Yeah. Okay. Does he have image? Yeah, he does. Here we go. Extensions, image magic. Let's add this. Yeah, I don't know enough about the GitHub images versus SPASI image package versus whatever. I guess maybe an older version of Mac and PHP version, maybe it was automatically included? Question mark? I don't know. Or maybe the latest version of SPASI image uses it now. I'd have to go look at their stuff. But anyway, let's add it to our workflow. Include image magic, push, and magic. All right, I'm here in the chat. Let's see what people say. Wrong package. Magic is in SPASI. You looked at browser. Yeah. Well, I guess that's my point. This is where you can end up in like a crazy dependency bit here. But like, yeah, if we go to your point, if we go to SPASI image, and we know that browser shot 3 automatically included SPASI image, 2 or whatever, and then we go look at this change log, we would see probably that, yeah, a magic is probably like, yeah, maybe, I don't know which one makes you use it. Maybe 3.3.5, manipulating animated GIFs is now support. I don't know. Anyway, let's see if tacking it on to this works, right? So we'll give this another second. We'll give it another second. We're close. How long did the last one take? 2 minutes. All right. We're a minute in. Hopefully another 60 seconds. Is there anything else we can mess with here? I don't think so. I mean, again, I could move to Vite and all that other stuff, but this is an internal project, again, that I use a couple times a year. So it's not really, I want it to be running Laravel 11 because I want the CI to be smooth and not be affected by like, just like you would by a server, like if they discontinued, PHP 7.4, versions, you got to upgrade. So, but I don't want to necessarily go like too crazy here where like, I'm implementing like more changes that I need. I don't care about using Vite necessarily. So, all right, did we pick up, did I not push that? Where's a magic? Where are you? Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. Just took a second. All right, should be getting everything else. Let's see it, build the assets. Do it. That would probably be the only other thing, is like, yeah, if something about this is outdated. Okay, it ran our migrations, it created SQLite, now it's generating screenshots. Okay, good. It seems to be generating the screenshots now without error. So we should see like 50, 51, this is 5.0, 5.1, 5.2. We're gonna see this go all the way up to 12, effectively. And what this does is it generates them as an artifact. Oh, we got another error. Timed out. Timed out. This is actually what I was seeing. Only Chrome at revision is guaranteed to work. I saw this error last night. So maybe I saw this error last night, and that's when I hard-coded things to Mac OS 13. I'd like this to run, so let's downgrade, if I could type, downgrade Mac OS. Let's go back to 13, because that's the same error I saw last night. If it's not the Mac OS, then it's PHP version, because I downgraded it, or well, I upgraded it from 8.0 to 8.2, and then Laravel 8 wouldn't work because, you know, it didn't have full support, I think, at the time for 8.2, because it's like 3 years old, 4 years old now. So anyway, there's a balance here where I made it work, but I didn't want to have to hack it. So I was hoping I could go to latest on everything, but it seems like only Chrome at revision is guaranteed. So this is coming from Puppeteer. So there must be a balance between browser shot, Puppeteer, and then it's Chrome driver that it's using, where I just need to dial those in correctly. So again, that might be in their changelogs if I want to go through it. Support headless shell, Chrome. Let's see where they say Chrome in here. Pass Puppeteer. Okay, so these are way older versions. There might be something to configure, you know. I'll just need to take a look at browser shot a little bit more. Again, this was all just a very stock install, so it's possible that there's a config file or other stuff, or maybe this headless mode is something that could work. I don't know. This is cool. What is this? While we're waiting, let's take a look. Headless Chrome is shipping in Chrome 59. It's a way to run the Chrome browser in a headless environment, essentially running Chrome without Chrome. Cool. Okay, I get that part. I wonder if when we set up the job, I don't think this tells us exactly what image release, image included software. Here we go. Chrome driver. And does it include Puppet? No. Maybe I need to include that. I don't know. Well, let's see if downgrading it gets it to work. We should be pretty close to build time here. Nope. There we go. Now it's building again. So most of our time here is spent on waiting on GitHub CI to finish up. I'd like to demo it though, so I want this to finish. This isn't necessarily indication that the application doesn't work per se. It's not actually running tests or anything. We're in a place now where it has more to do with dialing in all the dependencies so GitHub Actions is happy. But it was happy before we started, so let's see it happy now. This seems happier that it's actually generating the next one. So something about Chrome in the latest Mac OS is throwing it off. So I'll look into that off stream, but it seems as though going back to Mac 13, which I did, which is one of the hacks I kind of did to make this work on Laravel 8, still needs to remain. But at least we're running Laravel 11, we're running PHP 8.4, we've bumped all the correct packages. Once this finishes, we'll make sure these screenshots look good, and then we'll go from there. So this will finish up here. There shouldn't be too many more. Yeah, just the Tailwind ones, and then probably a couple PHP ones. Yep. PHP, PSR2, yeah, PSR4, the PHP unit ones. Yep. That should be the end. There we go. Okay, so yeah, so it finished generating all of them. It uploads the artifacts, and we should be able to download these now. There they go. Let's open those. Here we go. Okay, so here's an example, hopefully. There we go. So here's an example of all those screenshots. So again, each one's a little bit different. They show you the commits. You know, you kind of get like some random number generation over here, generation of, you know, shift numbers, the checks, everything passing, not passing. So here you go. Here's all of them. So I don't need these. They're already generated for the current project. But again, when I go to generate, when I make, you know, the Laravel 13 shift, or I make some other kind of shift mid-year, this allows me to go in, drop in that shift model, and it'll generate one of these images, which I then can go put on the website. So there you go. Let's merge this PR because it's green now. So I'm just going to squash merge this. And we are now running Laravel 11. We'll be ready for Laravel 12 next week. So let's squash merge this. Confirm squash merge. Delete the branch. Clean up after ourselves. There you go. Nice trim project. Should be good to go for another 3 or 4 years till I remember I have to update it again. So anyway, thanks everyone for joining a little impromptu stream today, and a couple more streams definitely. I'll do more streams next week with the release of Laravel 12, similar to this, where I update more things to Laravel 12 to demo the power of the new shift. But for today, thanks for joining. Tuesday instead of Wednesday. See y'all next Wednesday.